Hello! This is going to be just a quick video, sort of a thoughts kind of thing. I know a lot of people, obviously, when this first happened, started making, like, reaction videos and stuff, and I didn't do that. I really, honestly, I've tried to think about it and sort of do a, okay, it's been a week? I don't even know if it's been a week, but whatever, either way. Kind of one of those, okay, basically this is just a reaction video to Disney buying Lucasfilms. We've all had a chance to think about it, and for me, it's very, very interesting thoughts here. Basically, I don't really have an issue with Disney buying Lucasfilm, films or whatever. I don't have an issue with that. My issue is that they're gonna make new Star Wars movies. That's the issue. And I'll explain why. So, Disney now owns Marvel, right? And Disney has not changed Marvel. Disney just owns it. They don't... Spider-Man is Spider-Man, Iron Man is Iron Man. Nothing new is happening. It's all the same stuff. Yes, they are... well, I guess it's Sony basically doing this, but... Like, yeah, they're making new Spider-Man movies. Oh, I know that's not really anything to do with Disney, but as far as stuff like that happening, that's not an issue. They're always going to do that. In fact, you know why? They don't change the character. It's the same story every time. It's just a new take. It's almost like a different fan art picture of something. It's like, oh, that's how he sees it. So, like, you know, back when Tim Burton did the Batman movies, and then, well, then there was the ones Tim Burton didn't direct, you know, the shitty ones. But then after those came out, it was like time for a new Batman, and there always will be. You know, now that the Christopher Nolan trilogy is done, Batman will happen again. I don't know when that is, 6 years from now, 10 years from now, who knows, 3 years from now. The superhero thing is big right now. And then all of a sudden, there's going to be a new Batman trilogy, and there'll be new villains, and it'll be very exciting, and whatever. But... with Marvel, with Disney owning Marvel, they didn't change anything. There's still going to be the same Marvel movies coming out. It's all the same stuff going on. And quite honestly, The Avengers was amazing. That has nothing necessarily to do with Disney, but they just own it. They just own it. It's no different, I don't know, whatever. They just own it. It's not a big deal. They're not screwing around with the characters that I love. When it comes to Star Wars, however, I really, I'm a little bit bothered, maybe, that they're pumping out new Star Wars movies, because I don't know what direction they're going with this. And here, to be honest with you, I have not gone online and looked up anything, because it's sort of one of those moments where I'm just sort of frustrated. And I sort of, like, when the prequels came out, that was like... really? Because to me, Star Wars was done. It's done. They did it. I don't know why that was necessary. However, the prequels were still the story of Anakin Skywalker. And to some extent, all 6 films, they are the story of Anakin Skywalker. And, or if you want to, even if you want to say the Skywalker family, that works well too. Basically, all 6 films, from Episode 1 to Episode 6, it's the tale of Anakin Skywalker and the story of his family. That's what Star Wars is. Now, yes, there is a Star Wars universe, and there's all sorts of other characters, other Jedis, whatever. And they have nothing to do with Luke Skywalker, or Darth Vader, or Leia, or anybody. But to me, that's... I know you buy all these, you know, like, if you guys are into it, you guys know, what's going on with that, and I stick to the original stuff, not the Star Wars universe, even though it could totally be fun, but I've just never gotten into it. So, for me, it's just a little bit, it's one of those moments where I'm like, why? Why? It's gonna make a lot of money. Star Wars is gonna be, like, the thing for the next, you know, how many years, 8 years or whatever, how long it takes them to get all of them out. Yeah, to me it's like a cash grab, and I feel like Star Wars is done. I'll give you an example. I was trying to think of what other trilogy is out there that, is done, and I can't imagine them making like a fourth one or a sixth one or whatever it is. So Back to the Future is another example. Can you imagine if they did Back to the Future 4 or whatever, or Back to the Future and it had some title, and it had nothing to do with Marty McFly or Doc or anything, and you're like, what the hell is this? It's like, well, it's the same universe, though. It's the same universe. And you're like, I know, but that takes away from a great, great trilogy. Same thing with Jurassic Park. I've always heard rumors they're going to make a fourth one, and it's not happening yet, but I feel like Jurassic Park is done. To be honest with you, in my head, the first one is the only one. The second one I really didn't care for, and the third one was, like, semi-entertaining. But the first one, Jurassic Park, is Jurassic Park. It's a movie on its own. Something like Star Trek, I feel, as a series, you can be like, okay, it's been 10, 15 years. Let's do a new Star Trek series with all new characters. That, to me, is potential. And they've done really well. Like, the original Star Trek, awesome, and then Next Generation was great, and so on and so on. And everybody has issues with each one, but Next Generation was great, and they didn't screw that up. So, that's okay. It's just a new captain and everything, and for some reason, that's okay with me. But with Star Wars, it's not like that. I don't want to see Star Wars where it's a new Jedi. I don't want to see Star Wars that's like in the same universe, like, oh, this story's on Tatooine as well, but whatever. Or this takes place 100 years before Anakin Skywalker, and it has nothing to do with him. Or maybe they follow Qui-Gon Jinn or something, but I really don't want that. Star Wars is about the Skywalker family, and it bothers me a little bit, because it's a movie. What do I have here that I could explain this with? I don't know, like, I'm looking, like, oh, let's do a Harry Potter series. It's in the same universe. In fact, it's a kid who goes to Hogwarts, but this is like, 30 years after Harry Potter went there, and has nothing to do with Harry Potter. In fact, Harry Potter's not even mentioned, but it's a kid who goes to Hogwarts and blah, 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 and it's his adventures. It's like, no, that's dumb. So they won't do that ever, I'm assuming, but that just seems stupid. I'm just thinking of another trilogy I've got here that maybe I can bring another example to this, but I'm not seeing it. But anyway, just, make a sci-fi movie, and make it, you can be like, wow, that was kind of similar to Star Wars. But don't make it with the Star Wars name. I feel like I just don't like that. I don't care for it. It has nothing to do with Disney, though, owning it. So that, to me, is not the issue. I don't care that Disney owns it. And now when you go buy a Luke Skywalker action figure, it's like, it says Disney on the back. Who cares? Like, I really, that doesn't bother me. Like, what bothers me is the fact that they're making new movies. And that seems really scary. Now, having said that, when they come out, I may say, hey, that was great. That was a great movie. That was a great sci-fi. So, but I feel like, why is the Star Wars name on it? That's dumb. And, so then I think to myself, maybe it is still a continuation of the Star Wars, the Skywalker family, okay? Maybe this is like a thing where it's like Han Solo or Han and Leia's kid. So, because I know in the universe they have, like, an alternate Star Wars universe with the novels, that they have 3 kids. So it's like, okay, maybe they could do that. But I feel like, is that necessary? Star Wars is done. Star Wars is done. Why is this happening? It just seems silly. And it's like, my manager was saying that, that maybe Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher were going to sign on. But quite honestly, I just can't see it. And I can't see Harrison Ford signing on to do this. I just feel like it's a little insulting to them, where it's like, really, guys, really, it's done. Why is this happening? It's like, oh, the Star Wars name is so big, we can make money off it. And it's like, no, like, I don't want to see another Darth. Like, Darth Maul was in my opinion, no good. I didn't like that. That bothered me. And then, Darth Vader is one of the most epic characters of all time in a sci-fi movie. Darth Vader is Darth Vader. Everything, like, actually, I was talking to my stepmom, and She was saying she saw an interview, she was listening to an interview on the radio where it was two people, two like pop culture expert guys, sort of going against each other. One guy was like, this is a great idea, one guy was like, this is terrible. And the one guy apparently was saying that Star Wars is a story that basically our culture now owns. Like, we own this story. It's a part of our culture, for Western culture anyway. No one doesn't know what Star Wars is. Everyone knows. Even if somebody's never seen it, you at least know. You're like, oh, yeah, Star Wars. Like, and you know, everyone knows the theme song, and that brings me to something else. And then everybody knows, if you say a Jedi Knight, people know what that is. They may not necessarily know, like, the whole thing, but everybody knows what a lightsaber is. That is, like, a culturally iconic thing. And so I feel like it's done now. I don't know why you would do it. Like, I feel like Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, was the end. Then George Lucas did the prequels, and you're like, okay. And you know, while they were kind of silly and stuff, at least it was like, well, it's learning about the story of Darth Vader. It's still a major character in the movies. You got to see Darth Vader as a little boy. You got to see that he actually was a good person, and how he became evil, and I thought that was kind of neat. And then, you know, how Luke and Leia were separated, and that was kind of cool. And you got to see, like, their mom, like Padme, and the Queen Amidala, right? That was really interesting. Well, they're not by any means up to the standards of the originals. They were rather entertaining, and they were still very much related. Yoda was still in them. Like, all the characters, like Obi-Wan Kenobi as a young guy, that was cool, right? But this is like, where are they taking this? Because I just can't see, like, you know, Harrison Ford, like, being, like, 70-year-old Han Solo. It sounds dumb. And they may not even go that direction. It may be an alternate universe, some other Jedi, and, you know, Darth Vader is not even in it. It doesn't even make any sense. Like, if it was the same universe or something, and Darth Vader was in it, like, is James Earl Jones gonna actually do the voice? Like, I don't think so. And then, well, maybe, but then I don't think they'll go that direction. And then what's really bothers me is, because I'm a huge score person, like we're talking, like, creepy score fanatic person here. I'm, like, obsessed with movie scores, to an unhealthy whatever. I basically feel like I'm in the movie when I listen to movie scores. Like, I listen to movie scores all the time. Like, if I could, I listen to them all. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I like walking down the street listening to the Imperial March. That sounds creepy, but I feel like, hells yeah, today's gonna be a good day. And then I just love listening, just everything from the soundtrack to Chaplin, to Curious Case of Benjamin Button, to Nightmare Before Christmas. I love Danny Elfman. I love John Williams, and Danny Elfman are my favorite composers, but I can't say his name, but Alexander Desplat, or Desplat, whatever his name is, I'm really loving him. John Barry, whatever, Hans Zimmer. I love all these guys, and I feel like John Williams, like, that theme song, if I were John Williams right now, I'd be like, what is this? Like, no, this is terrible. John Williams won't do, 100%, I don't think he's going to do these Star Wars movies. A reason I say that is he's getting older now. He's, like, in his 80s, and so he's already he still scores for Spielberg, but he, like, for example, he did the prequels, and I feel like that was something that almost he had to do, which is great, and he obviously did the originals, and Star Wars to me is, like, it's the most famous, like, theme of all time. How do you hear it, and it's just, like, bam, you just see, like, anyway, I love it, but he, like, for example, he did the Harry Potter films, and he stopped doing them after 3, like, he didn't do 4 to 8, I guess, he stopped doing it. It was just too much. And it means that he would have had to dedicate himself to all those and basically blow off any other project. What my guess is, they're going to keep the theme. Like, obviously, when the credits come on and it says Star Wars Episode 7, it's going to be dun 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 dun. And it's going to be the same. And then it'll say, music by blah blah, main theme by John Williams. Just like they do in Harry Potter and any other movie that he's backed out of or stopped doing. Because that is just, no. So, that bothers me, and I'll say why, is, like, when Harry Potter, like, when I saw the 4th Harry Potter movie, and Patrick Doyle actually did the soundtrack. And whatever you think of Patrick Doyle, that's cool. And I don't actually know much about Patrick Doyle. But John Williams didn't score that, obviously. He did the first three. That actually turned me off from the entire movie. I did not like it because, well, also because I really liked the fourth book, and to me it didn't capture how I felt reading the book, but John Williams didn't score it. And John Williams has a feeling, when you listen to John Williams, that there's just nothing like it. He is so brilliant, and he captures magic. I don't know if that, and I feel like he does that in his scores, like in Hook. That's another great score that people may not think about a lot, but Hook's one of my favorite movies ever, and the soundtrack to that, score, is just phenomenal. And John Williams knows exactly when to use brass, and he knows exactly when to use woodwinds and strings. He is so, when you listen to that, you feel a little bit like you gain some sense of magic and comfort. He's great at that. John Williams can do creepy sometimes. Danny Elfman does creepy to a T. He's perfect. John Williams and Danny Elfman are my favorite, obviously, but John Williams knows how to capture magic. And I feel like when John Williams stops scoring a movie, the magic is gone. And I literally mean that when I say the magic was gone from Harry Potter when I saw the fourth one, The Goblet of Fire. The magic was gone. And now I feel like the magic of Star Wars will be gone. How can you have a Star Wars movie without John Williams scoring it? And I'm not talking about the main theme. Like, the average Joe knows the theme and that's it. I'm talking, like, I have all 6 soundtracks, and, like, when it comes to, like, the themes, like, there's nothing like them. Seriously. Like, the Battle of Endor. I don't think anyone else could have done that but John Williams. There's bits of power and war and a sense of terror, and then a sense of fun and whimsicalness. I don't know. I just, there's certain songs that's like, like Yoda's theme. It's just so powerful. I don't understand how anybody else can live up to that. In fact, holy smokes, if whoever the person is who scores these movies, they better be, pissing themselves, because they have a lot to live up to here. And I say that because I just can't see John Williams doing it. I just can't see him doing it. Now, John Williams might do it, and I may be proven wrong, but I have this feeling like he won't do it. And if he doesn't do it, then the magic has been lost. It's just like taking something that's in full color and then just making it dark and gray and black and white and just dull. It dulls something down. And I'll give you an example. Like, Danny Elfman, I love. Could Danny Elfman have scored the Star Wars movies? I know that's way before him, but just whatever. Could Danny Elfman have scored those movies? Sure. In fact, he would have come up with probably a very interesting score. But I feel like it's not for him. It's John Williams. That's him. John Williams has come up with some of the most magical, whimsical scores, and then, like, could John Williams have scored, let's think, like Edward Scissorhands? No. That's totally Danny Elfman territory right there. So there are certain things that belong to certain people, and, like, for me, like, it just, we were talking about this actually in the podcast, and Randy Newman is actually one of my very favorite composers, and Dustin Christ was talking about Thomas Newman, and I know Thomas Newman. In fact, like, I have the WALL-E soundtrack, one of the best soundtracks or scores ever. It's so amazing. In fact, some of it brings me to a tear. It's so good. Anyway, and it has a very odd kind of, there's some very interesting themes going on there, and Thomas Newman is really good. But Randy Newman I love a lot, and yes, he did score the original, like, he did Toy Story, he did Monsters, Inc., which is, by the way, a fantastic score, and if he does Monsters, Inc. 2, I am going to be over the moon, because that was such a really unique and jazzy score. But Randy Newman, if you guys don't know, also does other scores. He does other movies. He's done the Meet the Parents score, and, well, you're thinking, wow, who cares about that? That was actually a really good score, because I like scores. And he he did Awakenings, which if you've never heard of that movie, it's fantastic. It's just a brilliant movie. But he's got a sound like, I'm a pretty good score person, and when I hear scores, I'm like, that's a Randy Newman score, or that totally sounds like James Newton Howard. But anyway, I'm going off, and I wanted to actually do a video about scores, and I'm totally losing that right now, because, okay, my point is that, for me, Star Wars is about a lot of things, but it's about the music. Nothing beats that song when C-3PO and R2-D2 are just walking through Tatooine in Episode 4, and you're like, wow, this is amazing. And I feel like, I don't know who else could capture that. So if John Williams decides to score them, kudos to John Williams. I just can't, to me, I feel like, why would he? Because I think in his head it's done too. And I just can't see it happening. So if it doesn't happen, that's big disappointment on Star Wars' behalf. What the hell? But anyway, my whole thoughts are I'm not stoked about this at all. It's really bothering me because Star Wars, Return of the Jedi is my favorite. And this just, it belongs to the people. That sounds silly, but I feel like Star Wars does. We own Star Wars. It's our thing. It's our childhood. It's how we felt when we were teenagers. It's everything. I don't know. Anyway, so that's that. That's my opinion on it. And while this video didn't cover maybe everything I could have talked about with this, I don't know, but if they do it, I really kind of hope they go in the future as opposed to the past, because I'm getting real sick of them doing prequel, and then it looks way better than the stuff that's supposed to be after. It's like, okay guys, how come you guys are driving better planes and better ships than the people 100 years from now? It's like, no, wrong. So, that's that. If you guys have any other opinions about Star Wars or you know more information, please let me know, but that's my opinion on the new, I guess, Disney purchase, but kind of makes me think, like, what's Disney going to purchase next, but not just that, but I don't care that Disney owns it. Whatever. They own Indiana Jones now. That's cool, whatever. They can own other things. Marvel's, it's doing fine, but it's the fact that they're making new ones. That, and then going to Disney store and seeing lightsabers. Man, this is interesting. Anyway, that's that. Hopefully make new videos soon. See you guys!